at this time of year, okay? Because a lot of people, consciously or subconsciously, are in a life review. They know there's a new beginning in a new year, okay? Either, again, consciously or subconsciously. Okay, so when you walk into the labyrinth, and we're going to technically do that today, you release, you forgive, you let go. You say, I don't want to do this anymore. Now, how many times do you know, let's say you're holding on to anger, and this anger just won't go away. Now, I had somebody in my life, and I've gotten much better, but it was like this repeated thoughts of anger. Anybody ever deal with that? Okay, be honest, come on. Okay? So, and how many times you go over and over in that and you're like, oh God, I gotta stop this, I wish. Who are you hurting? Not the other person. Okay? You are hurting yourself. And how much energy are you spending on that anger? Where you could be spending on joy, happiness. Okay? I know all about this. Okay? And so how many times, even going into the labyrinth or in my prayers, sometimes desperation, help me, please take this anger away. Why wouldn't it go away sometimes? You can't let go. Okay? Or maybe there's something still for you to learn. Keep going back and letting go. So even if you don't know how to let go today, that's why we call on divine help. I want you to just be open to letting go, even if you don't know how. And that is called surrender, right? Because we don't have to figure out how it's going to go away. We have to pray and ask for help and releasing it and letting it go. So then when we're in the center of the labyrinth, this is the connection, this is the sacredness of the divine. This is the surrender, this is help me. Guide me, show me. I trust you. I am willing to become one with divine guidance, divine synchronicity, divine grace. Okay? This is a very sacred place. Matter of fact, Louis and I got married on the labyrinth. And we got married in the center to affirm our union as a family together and with the divine. We went the day before, we let go of anything we were holding on to, and then we got married in the center of the labyrinth, and then the next day we went out and said how we wanted to go out into the world, the two of us and as a family. It was beautiful, beautiful intention. So what you're going to do is we're actually taking this journey today. We're going to surrender, we're going to ask for help, we're going to say, show me the miracle. And how many people want a miracle in the room? Okay. Raise your hand if you didn't, please. Okay? Because miracles come small and large. I feel Lisa and her daughter are a little miracle for me today. Even though I really didn't want to do it, but I did. But it was a miracle. I mean, it really was. So, you know, those miracles can come small and they can come very large. How many people would like financial support right now? Okay? I want you to be open for the miracle. And we walk out of the labyrinth, we are saying, this is how I want to go into 2012. This is what I want to experience. This is what I want to feel. This is what I want to create. This is what I want to become one with. Now let's go back to our original prayer. We're asking to be open and willing to manifest our highest and best, and the highest and best of all, better than we could ever imagine. Okay? So we talked about I'm open and willing. Okay? That's your willingness to say, I really want to let this go. I really want to have this in my life. For your highest and greatest good. Do you want to create anything, or do you want to invite anything into your life that will cause you pain, chaos, suffering, confusion, hurt? Do you? Okay. Now, I have to tell you that when I manifest, this prayer is also not only about intention, but it's also about covering my ass. And what do I mean by that? That's the truth. because I do not want to bring or invite anything into my life that's not in my highest and best. Or the highest and best of all. And what that means is my relationship with Louie, my children, my clients, my students, anybody that I interact with. I want it to be for all of our highest and best, because if it's in my highest and best and his highest and best, that's where harmony is, correct? Okay? A perfect example, when we were manifesting our new home, I was not in agreement to move from Abington, where we used to be, and in our center, until my son graduated from high school, because he was still going to Abington High School. But the universe sent me 2 very strong messengers and said, you're moving. And I said, I don't think so. And I went to Louie and I said, Louie, I've gotten these very strong messages. We're moving. He's like, well, I've just been waiting for you. And I said, really? I said, that's interesting. Okay, let's just make our wish list. But you know what? Let's make our wish list. And this is the deal. Now, I go to the desk of God. I call it all the time. I make my deals. Okay? And how I make my deals, and this is the truth, but I use the visualization of the desk of God, okay? You know, either my angels are sitting behind there, or my Blessed Mother's sitting, somebody's sitting behind the desk. And I say, all right, I'll tell you what, I got the strong message. I'm hearing that I'm supposed to be moving. I'll tell you what, if this is in our highest and best, including Justin, and all of us as a family, I will be open and willing, but this whole thing needs to be as smooth, effortless, and so easy that I know that this is meant to be. Otherwise, you need to block me, show me resistance, show me something's going to fall through as we're looking and we're finding the house, and then I'll know that this isn't in the best of all of us. So Louie and I start looking, and we ended up finding this house, and I knew the minute we walked in the house. I knew it. And he was just, he's the grounded one. I'm like, this is it. There was on one door, like they had moved out of the whole house. On one door it said, there was a little sign that said, believe in angels. And even my realtor noticed it. He's like, Karen, you got to get up here. So the house was empty. It was, and I had to sell my house. If this was meant to be, I had to sell my house. Well, the realtor said, in order to get this price is overpriced, this house is overpriced. In order to negotiate, you need to have your house under agreement to get the price that it's worth. He said, you got to get going. So we prepped the house. It took about 2.5, 3 weeks. Okay? But meanwhile, my fear was somebody's going to take the house, correct? So Louie and I go sit, we have a beautiful koi pond, it's ours now. But we sit at the koi pond, and I said, Louie, we need to say a prayer. And he goes, okay. Sometimes he just looks at me like, okay. So we hold hands, and I said, all right, angels, I'm asking you if this is meant to be our house. Because I had already had a dream. I saw a star above the house, and they said, this is where you're meant to be. I said, dearest angels, if we're meant to be here, I said, for the highest and greatest good of all of us, can you make the house invisible, but this has to be in the highest and best of the seller and us to make this happen. I said, will you make it invisible so nobody else can see it and bid on it? So I don't know how I came up with this whole thing. So we prep the house, we get it ready. The realtor says, okay, this is what we need to price the house at. I said, all right, I want a bidding more, and I want you to get me more money than that. He's like, Karen. I said, I'm telling you, we're going to have a bidding war and you're going to get me more money. The house sold in 3 days. How many offers did we have? 4 or 5? And we got $5,000 over our asking price. So then it was time to negotiate the new house. I said, our realtor's name is Brian. I said, Brian, this is what we're going to pay for it. He's like, Karen, will you be a little open? I said, Brian, this is what we're going to pay for it. This is what we're going to get. I'm telling you it's going to happen. He's like, you have to be, it was like $50,000 less than what the price was. So sure enough, we got that price. Everything, both realtors for my house that we sold and the other house, they said, we've never seen anything. And this was in a market that was, obviously you guys know what the market's like, is terrible. Said, never have I seen anything. I ended up doing a manifesting workshop for the realtor's office. Because he's like, you've got to teach my realtors how to do this. So I knew beyond any doubt, no matter if Justin was still in high school, the angels, the divine, gave you everything I needed to trust and know this was in divine order. Do you understand? Okay? And I always say that prayer, no matter what I'm manifesting. Because how many times have you seen people win the lottery and their lives fall apart? Okay? Why would you want to invite that into your life? So use this prayer. It's on your sheets. Use it for anything and everything. It so works. And then you'll be able to trust whatever you're doing. Let's say some opportunity, this job comes, and you get this, and you're like, I don't know if I can do this job. You're like, oh, am I really qualified? Well, you know what? You can trust because you already prayed for your highest and best and the highest and best of all. So it's in the highest and best of you and the corporation you're working for to get that job. So then you need to trust and step into it with joy. One more thing to the house story. What was it the very next day? Remember I'd asked the house to be invisible? Well, once we got our agreement signed, they got offered $10,000 more. But, and that was just kind of a little laughter from the universe. They still need it. It was in a contingent to sell their house. But still, it was like Louie and I looked at each other and said, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I mean, it was a little humor from the universe saying, okay, this is really yours. And this is, believe it or not, I'm not anybody special. I just share it with everyone because I want people to experience what I've experienced. And I could stand up here all day and tell you stories. Okay? One more. Because people are looking for financial prosperity. So I really wanted to get certified as a hypnotist 13, 14 years ago. I didn't have the money. So I said, angels, show me the money. You know, what's his name, that movie? Show me the money. Was it Tom Cruise? Yeah. Okay. So I did. I joked. I said, show me the money. And we had, my daughter was about 5 or 6, and she did Easy Bake Oven. It was in the basement for a year. She came up and said, Mom, can we do this? I'm like, oh, I don't know if we have the mixes or anything. She pulls the Easy Bake Oven out of the thing. There was a check for 3/4 of what I needed for the hypnosis. There was a check that I never cashed from a year ago, a year prior. Okay, I was in sales at the time, and for some reason I never cashed a check. It was like $900 and something. But not only that, the check was dated 11/11. Wow. Now 11/11 is, for those of you who don't know, it's a sign of the angels. And I didn't know it at the time. I brought it to my meditation class. I was like, look, oh my God, you guys. You know, I get excited. I want to share it with everyone. And they said, do you know that check is dated 11/11? And I'm like, yeah, so what? They're like, that is the sign of the angels, 11/11. I was like, oh my God, thank you. So, you know, you can't sit there on paper and try and figure out where your miracles, where your help is going to come from. You just have to be open and willing to receive it. Do you understand? Okay, last part of the prayer that you're going to create today. Better than you could ever imagine. What does that mean? It's to overcome your unworthiness, your smallness, your limiting beliefs. You want to go up to God consciousness where the divine and your divine self, your divine essence is holding that possibility that you can have better than you could ever imagine, that you can be happy, joyful, that you can be in love, that you can be financially secure. Okay? Now, you're going to have to sometimes stay in a cocoon to manifest. What does that mean? You're going to have to stay focused. You're going to have to believe even though everything outside of the bubble isn't showing what you want to create. Now, what does that mean sometimes? How many times when you're manifesting something, are there outside voices saying, you can't do that, you don't have any money, you don't have any time, where are you going to find, what, how, and it's not because they don't want, most of the time it's because they're in fear. What if you change? Okay? What if it affects me? So sometimes you're going to have to stay in that little cocoon because there's going to be outside. How many people get caught up? The economy is terrible. Okay? We're falling apart. I'm telling you, turn off the news. If you're trying to manifest financial abundance or financial security and you're listening to that all the time, turn it off. I looked at it and I have no idea how it popped up on my computer. This last year, this same class, we had 40 people. Has the economy changed at all? We have sold out. Okay? So you can't limit yourself and bubble yourself in what other people think or what's going on. You have to hold the belief. You have to believe that there is possibilities. There is more than enough. There is the perfect job for you. There are people to help you. There is money for you to receive. There are ideas for you to create from. Okay? You have to be open and willing. And so sometimes you're going to have to stay in your little cocoon and do your affirmations and fake it till you make it and look at your picture on your altar that you've got your hot body in. Okay? Really, you're going to have to, you have to really want it. Okay? The biggest question I get is, why don't prayers get answered? How many people have those thoughts? Okay? And it's really, you know, there have been times that my prayers haven't been answered. What I've learned and what I've experienced through my own personal journey and working with many thousands of people is that sometimes it's not in your highest and best to get what you want. Or there's something better around the corner. How many times have you been so disappointed and something didn't happen, and then later on something better came and you said, oh my God, can you imagine if I wasn't so disappointed, I wouldn't be able to have experienced this? Okay? So sometimes it's a matter of divine timing. It's not your time, it's divine time. And sometimes it's a matter of you need to learn a lesson or grow. That one, how many times you're like, why is this happening? Why am I experiencing, how many times have you come around the block again to experience the same person in the same